I've been getting a ton of questions recently about different designs as it relates to indexed universal life insurance. And we're talking about paying in premium over different periods of years and how it affects the policy. So I figured I'd show you an example today of a 3-year fund, a 5-year fund, and a 7-year fund, all based on the same $1 million going into a policy in order to get that $1 million over the tax fence and generate tax-free supplemental retirement income. That's what we're doing today. Now, this is a structure review. This is not a policy review, but today we are using the Securian Balanced Growth Accumulator 2 product as our sample product. Again, not a policy review. This is only going to be a review of the structure. And as stated, we have 3 different BGA products, Securian BGA products here. We have $1 million split up over 3 years. We have $1 million split up over 5 years, and we have $1 million split up over 7 years. Now, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you know that we spend most of our time and energy talking about structure and design. It's the most important piece of getting your cash value life insurance policy correct. Doesn't matter if it's a variable contract, a whole life insurance contract, a current assumption UL, or an indexed UL. It doesn't matter if it's Securian, North American, Pacific Life, Allianz. It doesn't matter. None of that matters more than the structure of the policy. And so today, I'm just going to show you how the structure changes the pushes and pulls of the actual product. So we'll start with the 7-pay and we'll work our way down to the 5 and the 3. So the 7-pay is obviously giving us our lowest annual premium outlay. And you probably know this because you've been watching our channel. Thank you very much, by the way. We do this for all of you, and hopefully it's helpful. The lowest premium outlay of the $142,857 over 7 years is going to give us our smallest initial death benefit. Now, that's actually the death benefit at the end of the year. Our starting death benefit is $1.75 million. So it's giving us our smallest death benefit. Now, what do we know about the death benefit? The death benefit is going to drive the fees and the commission of the contract. Fees and commission. The smaller we can get the death benefit, the lower you're going to pay in fees, the less commission is going to be generated by the product. And so the way to get the smallest death benefit out of this 7-pay policy is to use an increasing death benefit and then drop the face amount as low as we can once we're done funding the contract in year 8, which is why you see this little, what is that, hashtag? Yeah, that's why you see the hashtag at the end of year 7, and you can see a big face drop, 2.8 to 1.4 million. That's going to optimize this policy for income. When we go down to year 16, we've just selected age 70. By the way, this is a 55-year-old male. 55-year-old male, standard non-tobacco. It's going to be the same example for all of these. 55-year-old male, standard non-tobacco, splitting up $1 million over 7, 5, 3 years. Our income in the 16th year at age 70, $151,000 a year, tax-free for life without sequence of return market risk. And we've got at age 90 here, about $1 million left over in death benefit. So pretty good. This is a good policy design. We've also, I'll save that for later. We have done something else that I haven't mentioned, but I'm going to save it for later. Save it for later. All right, so that's the 7-pay. The 5-pay is going to look eerily similar. You know, the main difference is obviously we're paying it in quicker. 200 over 5, same $1 million, $1 less actually, $999.99 versus $1 million. 200 over 5, you'll notice our starting death benefit, 2.425 million, 2.6 at the end of the year. So quite a bit more death benefit than the 7-pay. That additional death benefit is going to increase the fees slightly, and it's going to increase the commission on the contract. But you'll notice if we scroll down to the 16th year, our income is actually relatively unchanged, 156, 658. It's more, 156 versus 151. It's higher. How can it be higher if the fees are higher and the commission on the contract is higher? Well, 2 reasons. I'm going to save one of them to the end, but the main reason is time value of money, right? You're getting that $1 million into the policy sooner. And since you're getting that $1 million into the policy sooner, more of it is growing. If this $1 million is simply sitting on the sidelines in cash, or maybe earning 1 or 2%. I find that hard to believe, but if it is, then you almost don't care about fees and commission as much as getting the money working for you as soon as possible. And that's what being shown here. Getting the money working for you as soon as possible is actually positively impacting your future projected income. If this money was not sitting on the sidelines, if this money was sitting somewhere earning a healthy rate of return, well, then you might be pulled in the direction of the 7 pay, because at the end of the 7 years, you might have dollars left over, number one, or number two, you might be able to put in more than the million. Hopefully that makes sense. But the main difference here is time value of money. When we move to the 3 pay, our death benefit goes way up, $4 million. The reason I really wanted to do this video is because on one level, getting all the dollars in as fast as possible is the way to go. But when you move from a 7 pay down to a 5 pay, we get an increase in the death benefit. Surely, we saw that, we talked about it. But when you move from a 5 pay to a 3 pay, your death benefit really jacks up there. $4 million initial death benefit at the end of that first year, $4.3 million. So our fees have increased dramatically from the start, where we were sub $2 million in death benefit. From the 7 to the 3 pay, $1.7 million versus $4 million. Now, if your goal is death benefit, then great, do this. But if your goal is maximum cash and accumulation, just because we get all the money in sooner, we do hit a point where the equation isn't quite balanced. The time value of money is not outweighing the increase in fees. And that's what we're going to see here on the 3 pay. 333 going in over those 3 years, $1 million minus 1. Year 16, we're at 156,809. So really not much additional time value of money here in moving from the 200 over 5 that was generating the 156 to the 300 over 3, which is also 156. Now, I've kind of cheated. I told you there were 2 things. I've kind of cheated on all these examples. If you were to talk to just about, I got to be careful here. If you were to just go out and Google search and find someone that sells, index universal life insurance policies, number one, they're probably just an insurance agent. They are probably not also a wealth manager. But let's assume that they were both an insurance agent and a wealth manager. They're probably not a certified financial planner, which makes them a fiduciary over everything, right? They might be a fiduciary over wealth management, but that doesn't make you a fiduciary over insurance products. Those are 2 separate things. Chances are, if you asked somebody to show me the difference between a 7, a 5, and a 3 pay, you are not going to see such a tight window of income. In fact, you're going to see a huge discrepancy in the income projections between the 7 and the 3 pay. And the reason is what I've saved for last. In order to make these incomes so close, I've done my best to carve out the increase in the commissions by moving from the 7 to the 5 to the 3 pay, right? We talked about how more death benefit equals more fees equals more commission, and that is true. One way around that is when we move from the 7 to the 5 to the 3 to blend in term insurance as the increase that is needed for the death benefit. So adding term insurance as the additional death benefit need is actually non-commissionable, and it's much lower on the fee schedule. And so let me show that to you. When we look at the actual breakdown of the charges, this is where it gets interesting. Between the 7, 5, and 3 pay, you'll notice, well, let's just go through it. I've got the total charges here through 15 years. I've added it up. They don't do a good job adding it for us. They do it, every line item gets its own little addition. So I added all those up. I think I did it correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong. 161,917 in total charges through 15 years in the 7-pay. If we move to the 5-pay, we total up the same charges through 15 years. We're at 188. So not a huge difference there. 161 in total charges versus 188. But again, we get that $1 million working for us much sooner in the 5-pay than the 7-pay. When we move to the 3-pay, our charges go from 188 all the way up to 257. A huge jump over the jump from 7 down to 5 years, a huge jump. And most of the jump is coming from really only 2 line items. You'll notice, compare the cost of insurance and the premium charge between these 2 options, 55 and 37, 55 and 37, 55 and 34. Okay, so the difference in charges is not coming from cost of insurance necessarily, and it's not coming from the premium charge. Where is it coming from? It's coming from the policy issue charge and the additional charges, 59 and 13 versus 81 and 14 versus 133 and 31. So we know that our charges are coming from this policy issue charge and the additional charges. The only thing that we can really avoid is lowering the policy issue charge by using that term insurance rider, which increases our additional charges. So if you were to ask for this type of design from anyone else, you are not going to see, I shouldn't say that. Let me say it again. If you're going to ask for the difference in a 7, 5, and 3-pay design from anybody else, you should specifically ask to see the difference in charges while using a term insurance rider, because we've done everything that we can do to optimize these policies. And far too often, we will see someone come to us with a 3-pay policy or a 5-pay policy, and it will have been the only one they saw. They didn't get a chance to see the difference between a 3, 5, 7, or a 10-year option. And if you don't see those options side by side, you can't understand the pushes and pulls of the product. You can't see the difference in total charges, through the first 15 or 20 or so years. And so how do you know which design is right for you? And furthermore, even if you did see the designs, the difference between a 5, 7, and 3, most advisors are not going to show you that with a term blend that's going to lower the fees, lower the commission, and increase your ability to draw down cash later on in retirement. So if you're considering the purchase of an index universal life insurance policy, you got some money on the sidelines, and the goal is, stack dollars away, get it over the tax fence, use it later on in life, and you want to see the difference in, how to fund these policies, I feel like we do a really good job of outlining this, and I would love to chat with you. You can go to our website, leveragedwm.com. Up at the top, you'll see book a meeting. You can go there and you can book a real short call with us where we can get a feel for what you're trying to do, what your goals are, what are you aiming at, and figure out, whether or not this is going to be a good fit for your overall financial situation or not. But our goal here is to provide you with as much information and educate you to a point where you feel really comfortable making a decision one way or another. And the first step in that journey is booking that discovery call on our website, leveragedwm.com. Up at the top, you'll see book a meeting. Go there. It's the first step in the journey. It's a no pressure situation. We do believe that if you're armed with the right information, you can make a good financial decision. It's your money. They're your dollars. You've worked hard to earn them, and we believe that you can make a great decision with your dollars. If we can get you to that point where you feel comfortable making a decision one way or another, we feel like we've done our job, and that's why we exist. So go there if you're interested in that. Otherwise, hopefully this just real quick video on the difference in funding schedules and looking at the fees can show you that the design really does matter, and there's a right way and a wrong way to do these things. So in the comments below, let me know what else you'd like to see on the channel. And we actually scrape the comments and we do videos based on your suggestions. So for all of you that have suggested videos, thank you so much. It does drive a lot of the content on this channel. We want to be doing things that's relevant for you. And if we're doing a good job, let us know. Until next time, take care.